in my phone.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Is there a more fitting sound drop than that one for the Kings season? We are, they are who we thought they are, and we let them off the hook. The Kings, a disappointing loss in Memphis. We'll hit it. No time to focus on it too much, though, because tonight they're back in San Antonio. Got some news about who is likely in, who is likely out in that one. And we've got a fun show today. If you haven't been around for Fridays, Royal Rumble Friday. We've got a ton of content. We've got our WWE segment. I think we're going to go a little bit of a different way. Adam, I'm going to swerve you. We're not going to talk as much about what's going on in WWE right now. We're going to talk about the good old days. We're going to talk about the best promos of all time. I've got a couple in mind. I want to hear your guys's as well. And don't forget, Fridays mean it is horsing around with the NFL. I have Liam's latest picks for this week. So get your pen, get your paper, get ready. The kid went 7-5 last week. Haunted Horse will be here to give his picks. We'll see what happens. But hey, by the way, the kid was spicy today. You're going to want to stay tuned for Liam's picks. He was spicy, and I had nothing to do with it. He's talking junk, Horse. So you better bring your best picks. We'll get into all of it. We'll get into last night. Mike Brown, clearly frustrated, talking to the media. Passive aggressive, maybe. And Keon Ellis. What's going on there? What's going on with Keon? We've got full game day coverage all day for you. Pregame, halftime, postgame on If You Don't Like That. Court is in session on If You Don't Like That.
Grant and Ryan break it down. It's Sacktown, we're the crown.
Needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the time to Bucks, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like.
Do me a favor, give us a thumbs up, give us a like if you're out there, give us a retweet. Would appreciate that. It's a Royal Rumble Friday.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah, let's get into it. How's everybody doing today? Ryan in Sacktown with you, kicking off a busy day here on If You Don't Like That. I'm not sure, depending on how long today's show goes, we might not do pregame because tonight's game in San Antonio tips off at 5 o'clock. But we will for sure be here for halftime and postgame, getting you all set up. The Kings last night, what a disappointing loss. Really good basketball for them in the first half. And then the second half, it just all fell apart. And Memphis fell apart too. John Morant got kicked out of the game, was ejected. The Kings put the locks on Ja. He was not having it. And I've got thoughts on the officiating. Should Ja have gotten that foul? Ja was teetering on the edge all game. I'm not sure if anybody saw it, but there were times when he was setting screens that he had both hands out like this. He was pushing people like that and then bitching to the officials about calls. And they didn't even call any of those moving screens. But the fourth quarter, the Kings completely fall apart. Wait till I show you the shot charts from the first half and then the second half. Mike Brown had some of the exact same frustrations that we had in the post-game show. Many of you calling in with some of those frustrations. In the bench, 60-15, the bench was outscored. And Keon Ellis gets what? 2 minutes. Hey, attention. Hey, Mike.
Hello, we're on the air here.
Just want to let you know we're on the air here, Mike Brown. You know, Keon Ellis is your best 3-point shooter right now, and your team last night shot 22.9% from the 3-point line. Mike, you got to get Keon in the game. Why is Keon Ellis in Mike Brown's doghouse? There's got to be something more to it than the 3 plays at the end of the third quarter at home when they lost. Who did they play? Help me out. Pick me up here. It was the Kings lost before the Houston game. Keon had 3 really bad plays, and ever since then, you could tell Mike was pissed in the post game, and he was doing it passive aggressively. He was like, "Oh, we can't have this, we can't have that." And it's just like, call the player out by name. Say, Keon can't do that. Keon, he hurt us. Keon's one of the reasons we lost this game tonight. You just got to do it. That's what the best coaches do. That's what Michael Malone does. That's what almost every coach that is somebody, and I'm not saying Mike Brown isn't somebody, but any coach that's won a championship, they're not afraid to call out their players. Call them out, man. Anyways, also, I have a little bit of a concern. I have not seen Bane in a minute. Can we send out an SOS for Bane? Is Bane alive? I hope Bane's okay. He is usually the one that is in the chat first. What's going on here? Appreciate all you guys that are here. BJ, what's up, dude? Dude, what's up with that, man? It's kind of weird. What time do you want me? Was that meant for somebody else, Haunted Horse? Interesting. BJ, Haunted Horse, you don't say hi or everything. You that important? Yeah, he's kind of a big deal, right? Kind of a big deal. You're feeding. I'm not feeding anything to Liam. I am not saying squat to Liam. In fact, there's something today that when we do the segment, that he says in his picks that I'm like, what? Like, are you watching some football behind my back? Are you catching some NFL shorts in between FGTV and everything else that the kid watches? It was hilarious, and it's targeted at you, Haunted Horse. That's the thing. Vlad Father, what's up? UC Davis Aggies in the playoffs versus Illinois State tomorrow at Davis. Anybody know anything about these teams? Tim Plout. I know the head coach of UC Davis. Well, I don't know him personally anymore, but he was one of the quarterbacks when my best friend played at Davis. So I spent a lot of time around him, and obviously my best friend. He's a very good coach. Very good coach. Very good offensive mind. UC Davis, though, as a team, I don't know a ton about him. I don't, unfortunately. Illinois State, no idea. But I'll say this, Davis will probably be ready. Davis will represent. That is such a fun atmosphere out there, especially back in the day. I have not been to a Davis football game since Tony graduated. But man, that used to be a really good time. That was back was it Toomey Field or Tooney Field? Toomey Field, I believe, before they moved to the new stadium. But I know UC Davis beat Sac State, so take that for what it is. But good for UC Davis. Hopefully they can make a little bit of noise in the playoffs. Lockjaw is a serious condition. Yeah, well, they still beat the Kings. That's the problem. Kings mentally went into the toilet. Yeah. No, UC Davis football. UC Davis football would be my guess, because it is the CF. It's not the bowl series, it's the championship series. So they are playing. It's basically 1AA. Kind of. How do you put that? There's FBS and there's FCS. So FBS is what it's the championship series. Okay, I'm just making a mess out of this. You know what? Are we on the air?
Hello, we're on the air here.
Yeah, stop, Ryan. You got to stop. UC Davis football is in the playoffs. Football, they're always pretty consistent. They are always pretty consistent. Wait, is Bane here? Do we have a Bane sighting? Bane, are you alive? No, I don't see Bane. Come on, Bane. Get up in here. All right. Well, what's up, boys? Donald, what's going on? Check in. $15 a ticket. Not bad. Yeah, it's a good deal to get out to those games. Very good deal to get out to those games. All right, let's talk about last night. What a disaster in the second half by the Sacramento Kings. An absolute disaster. Look, you come off the best game, your signature win of the year against Houston. You come out, have an awesome first quarter. Really good first quarter. This whole Malik Monk experiment into the starting lineup, right? It seems to be working for the most part because the Kings have changed their offense. They're doing more pick and roll. They're moving to the hoop. They're moving without the basketball. They're getting De'Aaron Fox moving without the ball. They're getting him downhill. But then it just goes to hell. In the postgame show last night, I said, I thought in the third and fourth quarter, especially the fourth quarter, DeMar DeRozan, loved DeMar. Absolutely love DeMar. Think he's a great dude. Love his game. Future Hall of Famer. I thought last night he was heavy-handed with the ISO ball. Mike Brown had a few thoughts on that. We'll get to it in a few minutes. But the Kings fell asleep once clutch time came around. When John Morant got ejected, that's when the Kings just completely fell apart. And the Kings had a couple stretches before that where I'm like, Coach, call a timeout. Call a timeout, Coach. Please, the Kings came out of the gates firing strong. They scored on 8 of their first 10 possessions. Memphis is the 6th best defensive team in the league. So you knew the Kings were playing well. The 3-ball, little bit of a problem. They let local guy Jalen Wells, a rookie, get going on them in the first quarter. But it was back and forth. And then the second quarter, little more back and forth. The Kings start to go on a run. In fact, the Kings went on a 20-6 run last night in the second end of the first quarter and into the second quarter. And what happens? The shot clock malfunctions. The shot clock malfunctions. And right in the middle of this run, there's a 5-minute break in play. So the teams get a little blow. They get to sit down, talk a little bit, clear their heads, right? And the next thing you know, Memphis answers back with a 19-4 run to end the quarter. So we're basically back at square at halftime on this one. Here was the Kings shot chart in the first half. It was great. It's what you want to see. Look at all of the shots inside the three-point line. Look at all those circles inside the paint. The Kings won the battle of the paint last night. So we're thinking, all right, they're going to come out. They're going to do well. They've been able to put together stops, right? And then the third quarter strikes. They exchange baskets here and there. The Kings go on this defensive stretch. Check this out. They go, this is defense, miss 2. So the Grizzlies miss a 2. The Kings proceed to turn the Grizzlies over 5 times in 6 possessions after that. They turned them over 5 times in 6 possessions, yet the Kings could only score 5 points during that stretch. Think about that. You turn them over 5 times in 6 possessions, and it will only score 5 points. Coach Brown, how about a timeout? How about mixing things up? How about getting a hold of these boys, these guys? Unfortunately, does not happen. The rest is history. The Kings start to go on a little bit more of a run, and then we have some more of the same in the fourth quarter, where the Kings are getting stops. Miss 2. Memphis gets a 3. Then it's turnover, free throws, and then miss 2. But what do the Kings do during that time? Miss 2, they get a bucket, miss 3, turnover, miss 2, and then that's when the Ja Morant technical happens. And after that, dunzo. So we've got audio from Coach Brown that we're going to hear from. We're going to keep talking about this one. Don't forget the Kings and the Spurs tonight from San Antonio. My sources that I have talked to are telling me that there will be no Wembanyama and no Devin Vassell tonight. Vassell is not a surprise because he's still coming back from an injury. They've been doing some management or injury management. Second night of a back-and-back for San Antonio. Wemby did not play last night with back spasms. He's listed as doubtful. I'm hearing he's not playing tonight. So we'll see if that ends up coming through. That'll be a big break for the Kings if that in fact happens. The Kings have not been able to beat the San Antonio Spurs this year. So far, Wemby's dropped 34 on them in both games. Let's hit the phones. Zach, what's up, dude?
How you doing? Happy Friday, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just want to talk. I'm kind of talking future stuff. I want to kind of talk future stuff today. I think so. We're playing the Spurs, Utah, and the Pelicans the next 3 games. Okay,
Yep.
and I think these are the final 3 games I'm going to give this team a chance. Because these are supposedly the easier games, right? So this is the easier part of the schedule. We still have to face Denver a bunch of times, Golden State a bunch of times, OKC a few more times. We all know that this first month or 2 was the easy part of the schedule, and Utah, Spurs, and the Pelicans who are hurt. I'm in my mind saying if we don't go 3-0 in these next 3 games, I think it's time to start thinking about tanking.
Stop.
I think
Stop.
we're getting to the point where we know who we are, and I mean, what's the point of trying to get to a 500 or a little bit below 500? What's the point? I just want to know your thoughts first, and we can talk it out a little bit. But I mean, because if we go even, let's say we go 2-1, 1-2, we're still a few games under 500, and I mean, if we keep losing to these bad teams, what makes us think we're going to beat the good ones?
So, Zach, there's no reason to tank because you're indirectly tanking right now. You're trying your best,
Well, you
right?
can try a little harder.
Okay, like if you want the fan base to turn on you, that is how you get the fan base to turn on you. Look at what gets sometimes the biggest ovations at G1C. It's the hustle plays. It's diving on the floor. It's the good defense. If you're tanking, forget about it. That is not going to happen. BJ says Sacramento doesn't tank. Now, we can have this conversation if you're talking about tanking in the sense that everybody's on the market and available. That could be.
Right, like starting with maybe a DeRozan. Maybe we want to trade him for something, get some future stuff. That could be an option. I know he's probably not allowed to for a little bit because of he just got signed this year. There's a certain date for that, mid-December or something like that. But a soft tank, maybe as you will. Just throwing out these options because I know we're technically tanking right now because we're just not good. But we should start thinking about the future because there's no point of getting a 11th seed or a 12th seed. Like, why don't we just go for the 14th seed? Because the way they're playing, I mean, a lot of Kings analysts and things like that, they're saying they're stubborn to say that this is who we are. But it's been 23 games. We can't shoot. And if we can't shoot and we can't guard shooters, the season's lost.
Zach, that's why I named the
Now,
show.
if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
That's why I named the show that today. We basically have a sample size. Okay, so really quick, here was Coach Brown talking about the bench in the depth. I think this is the right cut.
Our ability to concentrate.
Nope, not the right cut. Here's the right cut.
Or was it adjustments that they
No, it was no adjustments. We kept telling our guys when you
Damn it, where's the cut? I'm sorry, guys. I'm still working these.
I'm concentrating on the
Here we
guys that I have. That question is for Monty and Wes. It's not me. I love our team. I thought we had great looks. Guys got to make shots. If you're open and you're going to shoot it, make it. Simple. Maybe I got to keep searching along the bench to see if we can get a punch here or there. But, when you move Malik to the starting group, you're taking a big punch away from the bench, and the punch is there not just because he can score, but to make the game easier for his teammates. And so got to keep shooting if we're open, but hopefully going forward, we can make them.
Okay, so a couple of things. I found that a little bit interesting. He said when you move Malik to the starting lineup. Is that you, bro? Is that
Sorry?
you, Zach?
For what?
That was some heavy breathing, my man.
Oh, really? I'm not paying attention.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Zach, we're
Hello, we're on the air here.
anyways, I thought it was interesting that he's talking about Malik and he's like, well, when you move Malik, and it's almost not like, well, when I moved Malik, and I'm wondering if that maybe came someplace other than Coach Brown, because Coach Brown has been pretty, strong in that he didn't want to start Malik. But as for the bench, where are you going to look? There's no place else that you can look. I mean, you're going to give Orlando Robinson run. What are you going to do for shooting other than Keon Ellis? So I think going back to your point, there's three guys that are on the market. I think three guys that are tradable on this team. I
Okay.
don't think DeMar is one of them. I think in order of what their value probably is, it's Fox, it's Murray, and then it is Devin Carter. And when I say tradable, now you guys are all going to scream in the chat, what about Kevin Herter? What about Trey Lyles? Those are not individual, they're not main courses, okay? Fox, Murray, and Devin Carter are your main courses in a trade. Now, Lyles and Herter, they're your macaroni and cheese. They're your mashed potatoes. They're your side dishes in a trade that make the money work. And I think those two guys probably have value to teams because of their contracts. Both of their contracts are a little bit different. So, I mean, Zach, you're going to have to give up a significant piece to get something in return.
Right. So what is the point of doing any of those trades? To me, if we're going to go down the list, De'Aaron Fox, are we going to get good value back? And are we going to, the point of it is to get some, are we going to try to get some young studs, or are we just going to try to get some equivalent thing and just keep this core going? I don't see, I think if you're trading Fox, you got to get, you got to go for the young studs. You got to get some picks, because I don't think there's going to be an equivalent player that we can get, that we can just throw in there and hope we make playoffs all of a sudden. Because Matt Fox is going to be the best value. He's going to be the guy. Um, so, I've been thinking, there's some trades that I mean, we can get to that point. Then there's Keegan Murray. We don't have any wings. We trade Murray, we got no wings. And there's no point that we're kind of just stuck with him at this point, in my opinion, because the value is going to be very, very low right now.
Stuck with him. He's your entire defense.
Right. We don't want to trade him. He's our entire defense and he's our only wing. Well, we shouldn't trade him. I don't think we should trade him, because if we need wings, we need tall athletic wings, and he's one of them. But we're not going to get good value back, and I feel like there's no point of really trading him. He's still young. I don't think we can get good value for him. Devin Carter's an interesting one. Uh, that one's very hard to tell, but I want to hear your thoughts on why DeMar is not tradable, because I think if the Kings are going to try to soft tank, I guess is the word I'll try to use here.
It's oh no, I don't even want to have that word in this conversation. It's resetting. It's reshuffling to me.
And what's the point of reshuffling, to just make a playoff run, or what's the
No, you're probably changing the composition, obviously, of the team, and you're probably going to see a little bit of a style change. And that's why I think DeMar's untouchable, because DeMar, one, I don't think the value is going to be there for DeMar. And I see everybody in the chat. This is the biggest thing. What about Sabonis? Why not shop Sabonis? Here's the reality of the deal. Who is going to take Sabonis on with his contract? Next year, he's set to make 43.6. The following year, he's set to make 46.7. And then in 27-28, he's set to make 49.9. Think about that hit now with the new CBA. Like, that is your guy. If you go get Sabonis, that's the dude you are building around. That is the star on your team. I don't see a team taking him on or going into the aprons to get him.
the unfortunate part, I think, Sabonis is a great player. He does so many things, but I will say that it's tough to have him as one of our building core players. The first or second player. He makes 40. He's going to make 45 to $50 million. I don't know too many players in the league that make 45 to $50 million that aren't one of two things: an elite interior presence or a guy that can just get a bucket, score 25 points a game. You give him the ball, he's going to score. That's his role. There's not too many players in this league that's taken 50 million of your cap and can't do two of those things. That's just something that's going through my mind as the season's going. Just something to look at, cuz I mean, yeah, it's just $45 million, one of your core guys. Yeah, just trying to see your thoughts on that.
It was a bad extension. Well, I shouldn't say it was a bad extension. The timing of the extension. Now, if we want to list out some of the things that Monty McNair could have done better, in my opinion, it's not making that extension with Sabonis the summer after you made the playoffs. Why? There was no indications that he wanted to leave Sacramento. You had money to play with to make that team better that year, last year, and you didn't use it. You just extended Sabonis. Now, to your point, is he an elite interior presence? I think he's second tier. And if we're saying elite, we're talking like,
Defensive. I'm talking
oh,
defensive.
defensive? No.
No,
Defensively, no. He's not an elite defensive guy.
right.
You
There's
gotta
the
you gotta kind of hide him. But I will say this: he's durable as hell.
Yep.
His work ethic is like none other, and the dude's got a chin. He's physical and he's able to take it back. So there's not a lot of guys that play his position that do that. Look at the other guys that play that position. Embiid missing a ton of games. Who else? Wemby missing games. Giannis missing a ton of games. So you can keep
True.
going down the list there. Here's what I think, guys, and Zach. The reality of the situation is, and we don't want to say it, and I don't even really want it, because I think this guy is playing the best basketball of his career in Sacramento right now in De'Aaron Fox. Since he had that 60-point game, his mindset, getting to the paint, creating for others, he's used his strengths to his advantage. He's been doing the Fox formula. 3-point attempts should be in line with assists. Last night, they weren't. He didn't shoot the three ball very well. The reality of the situation is you have De'Aaron Fox under contract for the rest of this year and next year. And then that's it. So the Kings cannot put themselves in a position, Zach, where you lose De'Aaron Fox for nothing.
Right.
That is doomsday scenario number one. So if you are looking at how this team's going to be reset or reshuffled, I think you squarely have to look at De'Aaron Fox. That's what gives you the most in return. Right now, his value is as high as it's going to be. It gets lower every single day because it gets closer to when his contract expires. Then you still have Malik Monk at the point guard. You still got Devin Carter behind him. You've got Keon. You've got McLaughlin. De'Aaron Fox could get you a haul, not only in players, but also in draft picks. So if the Kings have any hint that De'Aaron, remember, part of the reason he did not sign the extension was because he wanted to see how this roster developed. He wants to win. How's that going? It's not going well, and the Kings went out and got a piece with DeMar DeRozan. So basically, you've tried everything. I think we have seen what more can we do with De'Aaron Fox? No offense. I love the guy. I don't want to lose the guy. But what more can you do? You brought Domantas Sabonis in. Didn't work. Got you to the playoffs once. Now you have Domas and DeMar in through 23, 24 games. It doesn't work. So how are we going to make it work with De'Aaron Fox going forward?
Yeah, you make some good points. There was one point I want to talk about that Fox stuff in a second. One quick thing, just to get back to Sabonis, that you brought up a couple days ago or last game, that I think is actually much needed and could make Sabonis that type of guy, is that 3-pointer. He's making his 3-pointers pretty well this year. He's got to take more, and
Agreed.
if he takes more and he's shooting a good clip, I think that's a he's his value just jumped up pretty high. His value just jumped up much higher, just because he gives us a little bit more spacing. He gives us a little bit more element on offense, and like I said, there's not too many core players that are making 45 to 50 million, taking that much of your cap, to not be a bucket getter or an interior defensive presence. Those two things. But if he can make that 3-pointer It changes the little things. It changes a little bit. But back to the Fox thing, I think you're right. The question is the value to that. I 100% agree. We should if we have a hint of him leaving, we should try to find some good value for him. But the thing is, like I was saying, do you think we should get someone that could still keep us around, try to get that 6th to 10th spot in the West, or do we completely just go for picks, like thinking things like a Miami Heat for Tyler Hero young players and picks, or a Jalen Suggs and picks, things like that.
Yeah, I have no idea, Zach. Honestly, I haven't given it that much thought. All of my thought and energy has been who should be the guy, and really, that's up to Monty and whatever the vision is. I just think that we've got to come to terms with the fact that De'Aaron Fox has been here for how many years? And again, I'm not a Fox hater. I love Fox. I think he's playing the best basketball of his career. He is what's keeping this team buoyant right now. But this is kind of that time. This is that crossroads that every small market team hits at some point when they have a star. And De'Aaron's not a superstar; he's a star. It's, can we take that Giannis step with him and win a championship? And I don't think the answer is yes, because you've already made a couple moves to make him better. And if we want to go further into the Sabonis thing, I asked the question all last year to people around the team and people that covered the team. Do Fox and Sabonis make each other better? Everybody told me that Sabonis makes Fox better, but they couldn't tell me if Fox makes Sabonis better. And example number one of that is, look at how Monk uses Sabonis. Look at that connection there with the pick and roll. That pick and roll is not there with De'Aaron and Sabonis. And I'm not knocking De'Aaron whatsoever, but the reality is De'Aaron's a scoring guard first. He's a scoring guard that brings the ball up. He's closer to a Harden than he is a true point guard. And I just don't know what else you could possibly do to win with him in Sacramento.
Yeah, the good thing is if we do get trade Fox, we do have Malik Monk could be a starting point guard and have that connection with Sabonis right out the gate. We have Devin Carter who's a backup, right, or hopefully he can develop into something as well. We have some quote unquote Fox backups. Um, Unlike Keegan, we don't have anyone to replace Keegan on this team. But that's the thing. I don't know. I mean, like I was saying, the if we don't think Fox is that guy, are we trying to get equal value of certain players to stay in around? Or I mean, it also comes down to this: does Vivek and the organization, are they still going to be in win now mode? Because like we've
Of
all talked
course,
about,
they're in win now mode right now.
so then they don't want to trade him for picks or anything. They're going to try to stick with him.
But you have to also, well, here's what you have to figure into it too. When you're a small market, the picks are so valuable because of the salary part of it. And you have to pick right. That's the hard thing about it. But you can go over the cap to re-sign your own free agents.
Mhm.
You can do that. That's not a problem. So, yeah, that's why we want to. Let's take a step back, Zach. Let's take a step back from where we are right now to this past summer. That's why that Devin Carter pick, and it's very unfair to knock Devin Carter because he's never played a game in the NBA. We don't know how he's going to be. Might be a great player and fit in perfectly with what this Kings team does, but Dalton Connect was sitting right there for you at a position of need for this team, something that they also gave the team 3-point shooting, something he specialized in, something the team struggled with last year. And Monty took another guard. So I know the Kings were draft best available. And yes, even though they were looking to make trades, they were fully prepared to make that pick. But what's going to really suck is if Dalton Connect not only ends up being the best available player as we look back, but also the best fit, or would have been the best fit for this Kings team.
Yeah, I know a lot of Kings fans are upset about the Dalton Connect pick. Not getting him. I'm not too worried about it. Um, the guy is a little bit. He's an older rookie. He's like 23 already. He'll be 24 next year. Still during the season, I'm not too worried because I know he's 6'6". He gives us a little bit more. He's a taller player. We can use him as a wing or what. A taller two. But he does give good 3-point shooting. That's what we need. But we got a similar player to him, maybe not as athletic and wide array of skills. But Doug McDermott is supposed to be that 3-point shooter, and he didn't come through, and it hasn't helped us.
Zach,
The one player.
Zach. I'm sorry to cut you off, dude. He was an unsigned veteran. He was out of the NBA. We've got to stop. Like, and not just you. I just feel like there's this thing with the fan base. Like, you're getting Doug McDermott in his prime. You're getting Jay Crowder in his prime, and they're supposed to do these things. No, you're getting them to have an extra body. And if they're able to make a 3-pointer like they used to back in their prime, then great. They can help the team here and there. But both of those guys were never signed to come in and change the trajectory of this team.
Right.
That's what's so frustrating about it.
Is it? But if we're gonna say that about Doug, I mean, we didn't like Connect is a good 3-point shooter. He'd obviously be useful. I'm not saying he's not. He wouldn't be useful. And the Kings fans are right. You guys are right that he would fit in and he would make the threes. He's looking like he's already a great 3-point shooter. But I'm not going crazy over it. The guy that is a bigger deal, I'd say, is McCain. McCain is probably the guy. He's been playing, shooting lights out. He's been taking advantage of all the injuries. Oh yes, Dennis is saying the same thing. So I really like McCain. He's a Sacramento guy too as well. I don't think anyone should bring up the Connect stuff until Devin Carter plays a few months because, you know, it's tough. I know we're in win now mode, and we wanted Dalton because he's a shooter already, but I mean, he's not going to move the needle. That's his main strength, and that's about it.
Zach, he's helping the Lakers out tremendously, and he's probably the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year. And I know that it's not a very good class, but okay, I think it's fair. I understand what you're saying, and that's where I started off with the conversation because we don't know how Devin Carter is going to be. But whose minutes does Devin Carter eat into? Like, you needed a forward or
True,
possibly a stretch center. That's what this team has
true,
needed for how long?
right,
And we
100%.
win another guard.
Right. The thing is, that we shouldn't have done it through. I wouldn't want to go position stuff during a draft where it was a little, it's a weird picks. You don't know what you're gonna get. It was a weird area of where we're drafting. Devin Carter was a very highly rated good player, and I think it was a good pick to pick him. I was very high on Devin Carter, so maybe I'm a little biased. Um, and so I'm okay with a pick. The thing is to get the position during a free agency or or a trade. I know we were looking at Siakam earlier in January. That was one of the other options. Monty wanted to do that, and things closed off because of if he would resign or if he didn't want to come here, or maybe Monty didn't have the good enough of a trade that he was offering. So I know Monty's looking at him, but he's not executing on any trades. It's tough. We don't know what he's being offered and stuff like that. But I 100% agree. We need a wing and we need length. There's no doubt about that.
So Grant, he's been talking about the Connect thing for a while. He asked me last night on the post game show, and I'll cut you loose after this. He's like, he's lining up Monty McNair's moves. And, how do we judge Monty McNair? And the way that I look about Monty McNair and what his front office has done, he's hit home runs or he struck out. There's nothing in between. It's been drafting Keegan Murray, which worked out really well. Drafting Tyrese Halliburton, which turned into Domantas Sabonis, which was a trade that worked out for both teams. Where this team got left behind, in my opinion, Zach, is all the little fringe moves. It was the summer after we made the playoffs. Instead of using that money to improve the roster, you extend Sabonis. Okay. And then you just run it back. Then at that next trade deadline, you're ahead of the Lakers, right? In the standings, you only make a small move, which was for Kessler Edwards, and you used an exception that you had to use or you would just lose it. What do the Lakers do? They make a couple fringe moves. They get Russell, they get Hachimura. And then what happens? They end up in the freaking conference finals. And the Kings are out in the first round. They didn't have to give up much to make those moves. Let's fast forward to this last summer. You get DeMar, great home run, right? In the Kings, in the eyes of Sacramento, you get Malik to stay, home run. Okay, or excuse me, I went too far. Last trade deadline, Dallas, you're ahead of them in the standings. So forget what I just said about DeMar and Monk. Dallas, you're ahead of them in the standings. And what happens? They make a couple of moves. The most they give up is a first round pick. Just moves on the fringe. That puts them into the NBA finals. You were ahead of them at the trade deadline. It's the little moves along the way to make this team better. They never got made. They never got made. Unfortunately, you made a move last year at the trade deadline that basically paid for Keon Ellis's raise to a full-time roster spot. And so that's where this team's been left behind. And now, Zach, we're at a point where I see people saying bad news bears, the bench is trash. We're at a point where we're depending on Doug McDermott's and Jay Crowder's because that's all we can get. We stayed pat.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think those are a lot of missed opportunities, like you're saying. Not only did that we just used that money to extend Sabonis, we traded a first round pick to do that, to make more money, to trade Holmes. We lost a first round pick to do that too. Not only are we increasing the cap extension for Sabonis, we lost a first round pick. And the trade deadlines, I agree. I mean, yeah, Monty McNair, he does seem to be twiddling his thumbs around these big moments. Is one way to say it, but it is tough because I just don't know what what he's being offered, and if he's given good things. I mean, it's very tough. But what it does seem like is that he's staying pat a little too much, and he's got to make some moves to get that extra wing. And just to be fair, finding a decent wing and length player is the toughest position to find in the NBA. It's the most valuable position in the NBA right now. So um, that's just something to think about.
For sure. Zach, good conversation as always, dude.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Ryan. Take care.
All right, buddy. Have a great rest of your Friday. Good job by Zach. And Peter, this is an excellent point. It's an excellent point. We could do another hour on your point about schemes and the preseason and the lack of adjustments. In fact, Coach Brown said last night the Kings didn't make any adjustments. See if I can pull that clip up.
Our ability to concentrate during that time on the small details of what was successful.
Here we go. This is it. He was asked if he made any adjustments in the second half.
Or was it adjustments that they
No, it was no adjustments. We kept telling our guys, when you touch the paint against any good team, and Memphis is a good defensive team, they're going to go like this. They want you to shoot that pull-up shot. You should be touching the paint against those guys to see if you can get to the rim because they screw up and get fouled, or to kick it. And the last 5 minutes, we had so many open guys, and we shot a contested 2 that, you know, again, you have mistakes like that offensively. You have mistakes like that defensively. You don't box out, especially when it comes to winning time. And I don't care who's in front of you. It's going to be hard to win. And I'm not taking anything away from Memphis because their effort level was just at the right level it was supposed to be, especially missing their superstar.
So adjustments last night. Defensively, was there some? Maybe. I mean, I think if we're going to talk about what coach has done, I think we're overcompensating for the poor on-ball defense. I explained this on the post-game show. What's happening is you have the strong side defender who's not guarding ball, or the big man. Most teams come up and run a pick and roll right from the top, or they do horns action. So you've got the big man and the guy guarding the ball dealing with the pick and roll. Now you've got your strong side defender who's guarding the guy in the corner or on the wing that's hanging off. He's looking at man and ball. Coach Brown has that guy coming up and jumping at the runner or the roller, which means the guy that jumps out at the roller, now when that ball gets kicked out to the corner or the wing, that guy's got to get all the way back to the guy on the strong side that he's supposed to be defending and guard that 3-point attempt. That is the fundamental problem with this defense. Now, coach might be in a no-win situation because if you don't bring that person to help and step up, maybe the roller or the guy with the ball is getting straight to the rim because the guys aren't getting through the picks or the reds, which are the switches. But that's why the 3-point percentage is so high. It's what it is. Name me another team in the NBA, seriously, that goes out and leaves a strong side player open to help. It doesn't usually happen consistently, or at least not as consistently as it does with the Kings. Now, as for the adjustments with players, the Keon Ellis thing to me is perplexing. Why Keon Ellis is not getting more minutes right now, I don't know why. If the Sacramento media, other than Chris Beardman, was on the road with them, I'm sure that's the question that would have been asked last night. And I'm pretty sure that's what Chris was trying to get at with the adjustments thing. Keon is your best 3-point shooter on the roster right now. Let me repeat myself. Keon Ellis is the best 3-point shooter per percentage on the Kings roster. He got 2 minutes last night. Ever since he had the 3 bad plays 2 games ago, he has been in coach's doghouse. So, yes, coach has to have the right ingredients to cook. We need to talk about what we have and what we can do with it. But I guess here's the point that I'm getting at, y'all, as we bring you back in, because the Kings are playing the Spurs tonight. Have the Kings tried everything they possibly can with these ingredients? I think we're getting to that point. Now, the last two games have been much better offensively. It's just not been sustained offensively, unfortunately. That is the big problem. We're going to continue talking Kings here in a few minutes. We still got a lot of show left for you. We're going to get you ready for tonight. We're going to talk about the Spurs and the Kings. I am hearing no Wembanyama tonight and no Devin Vassell, which is good for the Kings. Hopefully, they've lost to the Spurs both times this season. Both teams on a back-to-back tonight. Hopefully, we will get a better result. In fact, the Kings, it's funny, on no days rest, they actually play at a higher pace. That is when they get their most shot attempts. Ironic enough. So we'll see how the Kings come out tonight in San Antonio. One thing that I can guarantee is going to be awesome this weekend, regardless of what the Kings do, is weekend brunch at Bennett's West Side Grill. That's their newest location in the Blue Oaks Town Center in Rockland, excuse me. Make sure, do me a favor, get out and check out Bennett'sRestaurants.com. They've got prime cuts of seafood and steak. Love the redfish out there. Absolutely off the charts. The New York prime can't beat it. The steak and Fritz with the hanger steak. Anybody know what a hanger steak is? If you do, then you're living life the right way. Bennett's actually has one on the menu. But if you don't want to go heavy like that, check out their happy hour. They've got some great deals. There's sips and tastes 2 to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday. Also, wine and dine Mondays, 2 entrees, bottle of wine under $70, and weekend brunch. Like I said, 2 entrees, bottle of champagne under $50. Got a little bit of everything for you and some great deals at Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can put in your orders to go right there on the website. You can make reservations. And also, if you got a holiday party, a family get together coming up, office party, think about Bennett's. They've got some beautiful private dining rooms that they can set you up in. Same great service, same great food, intimate setting. Very beautiful. All 3 of their private dining rooms have a different vibe, and they're all freaking awesome. Stay tuned to the channel because we are still planning to do a watch party at some point this season when Napes is back in town at Bennett's. We'll broadcast from there and get to watch a road game with all of you. But yeah, go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, learn more about them. And when you go in, tell them that you heard about them here on If You Don't Like That. Love us some Bennett's. All right. So it's Friday. Friday. We are going to switch it up. We are going to talk some NFL really quick. Fridays mean it is horsing around with the NFL. If you are new to this show, let me set the table for you really quick. Haunted Horse, who usually comes in here on Fridays, he's really good at these exotic NFL parlays. He's actually really good at them. And he'll come in, give us a couple picks here and there. Well, I decided, I'm like, you know what? What if my son started picking games? And my son doesn't watch football. He couldn't name you probably more than 3 football teams. And we have pitted the 2 of them together. They are going at each other. Last week, Liam beat Haunted Horse by 2 games. Liam was 7-4 on the week. I've got Liam's picks rolled up, and he is spicy this week. So you better watch out. We've got Haunted Horse here as well. We are going to horse around with the NFL horse. What's up, dude?
How's it going, everyone? I am here to save you.
You're
Kings
loud.
fans.
I'm going to turn you down. You're a little
Am I-
bit loud.
Well, I can do that. I got volume on here. I'm always loud. You should always have me turned down. Is that better?
Go ahead.
Are we good?
Yeah, that's better.
Kings fans, I am here to save you from the malaise and doom and gloom of your season out of control. We're going to talk some NFL. Look, I've been there and I'm living there. The Portland Trailblazers are a game and a half behind you guys. So we are down there together. I am with you, Kings fan. I will say this, though. The Fox trade talk, I think you guys have hit a ceiling. I don't see any big move that's going to put you guys in the top 6. I was the one fan, the small minority fan that was on the trade Damian Lillard bandwagon. The only difference was we had him locked up for years, whereas you're saying you've got 2 years and then you lose him for nothing. We had him locked up, but the team, we had put the best 2 teams a couple years in a row together and we just couldn't get over the hump. And then we started going young and then we became on 2 different things. Dame wanted a ring. We were going young. And so we gave him what he wanted, which was a trade. I'm all for trading a piece. If you are at your ceiling and there's really no move, here's the problem you guys are having and what we had. We could not pair Dame with a superstar because superstars don't want to go to small markets for the main part. Our best free agent signing that in my lifetime was Scottie Pippen because everyone else would be like, nope, not going to Portland. Too small. I want to go where the limelight is. Anyway, so sometimes you got to you got to take a couple steps back to make 3-4 steps forward. So anyway, I'm all for the Fox trade. I don't see how you guys get much better with what you have and what trades are available. So anyway, there you go. That's my opinion that no one gives a crap about.
No, I respect it. And Wolf, what's up, dude? You're right. They've got to make buckets. Bench, you got to make small moves. But
yeah, okay. Your bench, dude.
So Donald, here's the thing, though. Who on the bench, if we're talking about trading smaller pieces, what player is going to bring back players better than them to the Kings? Like, what's Kevin Huerter going to bring you back that's better than Kevin Huerter on his own? Like, to a degree, Horse, you're right in that the small markets that end up with superstars, it happens through the draft. Giannis, Damian Lillard, you got to get those guys usually in the draft. But making buckets is a big thing too. But here's the other thing, though, Donald and Wolf, the Kings have shown now for a season and a quarter that they can't make the 3 ball. This dates back to last season too. So we've got a bigger sample size now saying this Kings team is not as good of a 3-point shooting team than we do saying they're a great 3-point shooting team, because the only sample size saying that was 22-23 when they made the playoffs. So it's a tricky thing, but
typically what fans do is they'll say, let's take these 3 players we don't want. They add the stats together and go, let's take these 3 players and we'll get Luka Doncic. And it's like, it doesn't, you don't take 3 players and come up with the stats of him. And then that trade, they get really squirrely with trade. I've seen the trade deals that fans want to make and everything else. It's got to be good for the other team too. I mean, it's just, teams are not, and Miami had us locked up because Dame wanted to go there. They knew it. They weren't giving us anything. And we had to get involved with the NBA office saying, Dame's agent is trying to block other deals and there's tampering going on and whatever. And then the Bucks came out and gutted their team, and that didn't work out. The Blazers definitely won that trade with the Milwaukee Bucks by far. We got lots of draft picks. We traded the veteran we got to New York. And even though it doesn't show up in the stat line yet, the cream is starting to rise to the top here. There's a reason we're only a game and a half behind you guys. Last year at this time, your bad team, we still would have been 6 games behind. So.
Dude, Boston won that trade. Drew Holiday going to Boston. Get the hell out of here.
Bingo. So
all right.
Yeah, Boston got. Oh, anyway, you don't want to listen. Everyone in your audience knows more about the NBA than me, and I'm not kidding. So
well,
I'm an NFL guy.
Some might say my 10-year-old son knows more about football than you too. So.
Hey, the scoreboard doesn't lie. He got me last week. Man, I am getting creamed. Talking about my betting, man. I needed a Laporta touchdown last night for $103 bet on a $2.50 bet. Laporta getting a touchdown would have got me 103. And I had the other players and I couldn't get Laporta. It just didn't match up with me. And then I knew they were going for a field goal at the end. And I'm like, yeah, it ain't going to happen. They're going to play their way to a field goal. They're not trying to get in the end zone. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
All right, let's get this thing underway. We're gonna go pick. We're gonna go pick for pick. I'm gonna play Liam's pick, and then we'll wait. Should we give you the advantage, or should we give Liam the advantage?
Well, since you got the tape in the order of you got it,
I'll go first.
Written down. I'm not changing.
Yeah, I'll go first then.
They're on paper.
We'll go Liam's first. Okay.
Now, I have to pick the point spread, and it doesn't matter because he's not picking point spreads. That's way out of his. He doesn't need to.
No, Liam goes
point spreads based off of this morning's DraftKings lineup point spread.
So Liam's going. His go off of the spreads too. He doesn't know what the spread is.
No, I know. That's my point. Is he's not making his pick based on the spread. He's
correct.
Making his pick based on. Hey, whatever he's doing, it's beating me. So let's keep doing it.
7-4 last week. All right, let's see if we've got this tuned up to the right spot.
Picks. Here we go.
All right, here we go. These are the first of Liam's. We'll go game by game. Week 14 picks: the Jaguars and the Titans.
Jaguars or Titans?
Titans.
I gotta find that game. I also have the Titans -3 over the Jaguars. So he's got the Titans. I've also got the Titans.
All right. So they are the same there. They're both going Titans. All right. Back to Liam.
Jets or Dolphins?
Dolphins.
Jets I also have the Dolphins -6 over the Jets. That's also me.
All right. Here we go. Next pick.
Falcons or Vikings?
Vikings.
He's going Vikes.
I also have the Vikings -6 over the Falcons. See, I found a way they can't beat me. I just pick everything he does.
All right.
I also have the Vikings.
Let's keep them rolling.
Saints or Giants?
Giants.
Whoa.
Yeah, see, I have the Saints -5 over the Giants. So there we differ.
All right. Horse is going Saints. Liam's rolling with Tommy Cutlets.
He's not
And Drew
playing.
Lock.
They're going with Drew Lock.
Yeah, Drew Lock. All right. So we've got our first differing pick. Dude, Liam was spicy this afternoon. He was talking some junk to you. You just wait. It's coming.
Dan.
Panthers or Eagles?
Eagle.
Good pick. He's going Eagles.
So I am taking the Eagles minus 13.5 over the Panthers, and that spread's got me scared, but I'm glad he's picking Eagles.
And all you, I hope you have your pen and paper out. This kid was 7-4 against the spread last week. Just want to remind everybody.
Browns or Steelers?
Steelers. Browns.
I also have the Steelers minus 6.5 over the Browns. And for those that watch Jim Rome, Jim took the Steelers, but James Kelly took the Browns. They split on that game. I'm taking the Steelers minus 6.5.
Okay, here we go.
Raiders or Bucks?
Bucks.
That's funny. I thought he would have taken the Raiders. We both I took Tampa Bay minus 6.5 over the Raiders. We literally have one game difference right now.
All right, next up.
Seahawks or Cardinals?
Cowboys.
Oh, really?
That surprises me.
All right, Cardinals.
That surprises me because I took the Seahawks plus 2.5 over the Cardinals, and I was sure we would tie on that game. So there's 2 games difference. I have to root for the Seahawks.
You got to root for the Seahawks, buddy. Yeah, for entertainment purposes only. Exactly. All right, here we go.
Bills or Rams?
Rams.
Wow. Upset.
He's going Rams over Bills. Al, did you give my kid a call this morning? Did you give him some inside information?
So I am taking the Bills minus 3.5 over the Rams.
All right. So we have a differing pick. Al says too many points for the Eagles. Young playing with
that Eagle, I do not like. That's probably and I put money on the Eagles. So that's the one bet I'm really sweating.
All right. Next pick.
Bears or Niners?
Niners.
Whoa.
You mean 49ers?
Yeah, 49ers.
You mean 40-winers?
Oh! Haunted horse shot across the bow.
Right.
Chargers or...
Are you kidding me?
I did not. I was picking the Niners, but I wrote that down and not cheating, but I wrote that down somewhere. Hold on.
Yeah, it's 529.
Yeah, I have to find the point spread. That's the thing. So 49ers. I already made the bet, so I've got a actual money bet to say what I picked was right. So I have the 49ers minus 3.5 over the Bears, and he also picked the Niners, right?
I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to go to the replay.
Yeah, he picked the 49ers.
Shot across the bow.
Yeah.
Niners.
You mean 40-winers?
Oh, haunted horse shot across the bow.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Here's your next one. Yeah, 40 whiners. He just busted that out. I'm like, really, Liam? Nice. Dude, I did not, honest to the Lord, I did not say anything to him. That's why I started laughing.
Oh, I was saying when BJ said I didn't say hi to BJ, I'm like, because you're feeding the kid information. I wasn't talking about you. It's hard.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Chargers or Chiefs?
Chiefs.
All right, we differ there. I have the Chargers plus 4 over the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel really good about that. I think the Chiefs are not blowing people away. The Chargers are really good. And if you're going to give me 4 points, I'm taking Chargers plus 4.
Yeah, I kind of like the Chargers there too. But anytime that I kind of like anybody playing against Patrick Mahomes, I'm wrong.
Well, he's probably going to win the game. But the Chargers get 4 points means the Chiefs have got to win more than a field goal. I like that bet.
Yeah. So, all right, here we go. Liam teeing up another one.
Or Cowboys?
Bengals.
There we go. Those are Liam's week 14 picks. Liam, you know that you were 7-5 last week.
7-5.
Really?
It's pretty good, dude.
Cool.
Anything to say to the people?
Have a nice day.
Boom.
There he is. Have a
There he
nice day,
is.
people.
Have a nice day.
Peter
And
Anderson
40
says Haunted
wider.
Horse gets his picks from Liz. No, I don't. I make these on my own. Come on. She's on my Monday show when we talk football, Peter. Okay, so he picked the Bengals. I also picked the Bengals. Minus 5.5 over the Cowboys. I like that bet as well. The Bengals have no defense. The Cowboys offense isn't that great, but the Bengals offense is freaking amazing.
So we differ on Saints, Seahawks, Bills, and Chargers.
Yep. Liam's got Giants. I've got Saints. Liam's got Cardinals. I have Seahawks. Liam's got Rams. I've got Bills, and Liam has Kansas City Chiefs. I have Chargers. So the bragging rights will occur in those 4 games.
Well done. You got any exotic parlays going this weekend?
You know what? I haven't looked at it yet. Those that watch my show, I give away a bet on Thursday nights, and Burn Dog got that bet, and he made his picks to me, and so we've got I'm letting them make the bets because I've been struggling. So I don't have it. Yeah, I haven't looked at it. Last night I thought I had the winner. I had a whole half to get a Laporta touchdown. The other 3 guys got their touchdowns in the first half and then the first drive of the second half. And I'm like, oh, come on. I've got a whole half. The game's close to get a Laporta touchdown. And never happened. And they're offering money to cash out. And I'm like, hell no, man.
You got any
this?
You got any plays tonight? Anything going?
Plays for tonight.
Are you betting on any basketball games?
I don't know. The Trailblazers even play tonight. I don't know. You guys play. You play a Wembanyama-less Spurs team. Boy, you guys need to win that game. That's all I have to say. If you can't beat that team without their star player, it's time to trade. It's time to shut it down.
Spurs played last night. They got blown out by Chicago.
Now, I watched your post-game show. They did play last night, but their starters had low minutes. Your starters had high minutes.
Yeah, they're used to it.
What happens with a tired team versus a more rested team?
Yeah.
But without the superstar. Back spasms. He's out. So, all right,
dude. The Kings right now 6.5-point favorites. I don't think the Kings have been very good ATS this year. I think they've been one of the worst teams ATS. But
I mean 6.5 points. I don't know without a star player, but and they're on the road, right? They're in San Antonio. I think I would take the points.
Notice the attributes of the quote unquote gambler. Right. I was close. I had an entire half for Laporta to get a touchdown. Okay.
Here's the thing, Peter. This is the thing. Last year, I hit all those. I was making a lot of money last year. This year, I am close. I cannot get except for weeks 1, 2, and 3. I cannot get that last piece of the puzzle. I cannot get it. My life depended on it. So I'm close. I'm struggling.
So I watched this guy, and everybody has like their weird YouTube watches. I don't know how this one ended up on mine. But his name's Vegas Matt, and him and his group of cronies, they pool their money together. And they play like max bets on slot machines. Like sometimes,
I know this guy.
Like sometimes $500 a spin.
Yes.
And anyways, I got caught on one of his episodes after the post-game show last night. And these knuckleheads, they were playing like $250 a spin. They ended up winning $25,000, right, on a slot machine.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, and they're like, all right, well, what should we do? How should we do this? You know, what if we took the 20,000 and they're talking about their low water mark, their high water mark. You know, we could probably take like 2,000 and do this. And then we walk away with this much. And they all agree, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And then they lose on the slot machine, right? And they're like, well, we've got to get that money back. Like we've got to get that money back, you know. Here's what we could do. Why don't we just put that on one hand of I forget what the table game was. It was some variation of Baccarat. And so They lose the hand. They've got two, and they're like, okay, well, I guess that means that we have $3,000 to only play the slots with, and now we're only up 18. And they're like, but no, we need to get back up to 25. So what? Should we put all of it on the baccarat? Yeah, let's do all of it. And then they hit it, and so they're back up to 25. And then they're like, oh, but our goal was to get above 25. So, like, what if we just put $5,000 on this hand, and if we lose, that means we only have this much to do on this. And the cycle of the gambler, it's just I think I watch it more for like the mental part of it and the reasoning,
Right.
but it's incredible. Yeah, Vegas, Matt, they end up winning a lot, but I can't imagine how much they lose too on the back end. They're not going to put all their losses on YouTube.
Look, if you're an influencer and you're getting a lot of money that you can play around with, whereas, you know, my paycheck from work, when I started losing after week 3, I had a couple of weeks where just cold a few weeks, and then I started backing my bets down. I wasn't chasing. I was doing the opposite. I was getting conservative. So like last night, I bet $2.50, whereas week 1 and 2, I was betting $30, $40 spread out, not on one thing. And I was hitting and making money. And yeah, so I backed it down.
So Adam, I 100% agree with you. Scared money doesn't make money. If I'm going to gamble, which I don't gamble very much, like it's going to be 1 or 2 hands and that's it. Like if I get the feeling it's time to go all in, I just push it in. So I'm with that of it, but I can't like the everyday making gambling a profession. Crazy. Anyways, tell everybody where they can find you, brother.
HollywoodRejects.com. I had to think about it. There's links at the top of that page. You can find my shows. I got shows every Friday at 5 p.m. Today is the weekend kickoff. So I don't know if that conflicts with your Kings game.
It doesn't.
The Kings game, huh?
It's the game.
Is it? What?
Yeah.
You got an early game?
Yep.
Yeah. Then don't watch my show. Watch Kings.
People usually do multiple things at once.
Well, that's true. I'm watching your show while I'm doing the. And by the way, thanks for when I said what time do you want me making a joke out of it and not giving me a time. I'm trying to do errands. I'm trying to get things done for the wife, house things.
You're on vacation. Why do you need a time?
I've still got. I told you this is a working vacation. I'm building shows. I'm trying to get dump buttons made. I spent a whole day yesterday.
Are you
technical dump button?
Are you
fat? I am. You know what's funny? I went to put on some jeans yesterday, and I tried to get the button to the button loop, and it wasn't making it. I'm like, man, these jeans were baggy on me 2 months ago, and now I can't get the stupid button. Yeah, I definitely need to get through the holidays and start the diet again.
It's the Thanksgiving pizza, dude. Thanksgiving pizza.
That was good, dude. I'm sad that I was the only one able to find one. It was actually enjoyable. It was a good pizza.
Oh my gosh!
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
In the waiting room.
He is. We're gonna get to him in a second.
Adam, dude. I can't wait. Get in here.
All right. Appreciate you, Horse. That is horsing around with the NFL. Haunted Horse going against Liam. They've got a couple of differing picks. And yes, 49er fan, he called the Niners 40 whiners. I have, maybe full transparency, because this is a Seahawks house, that may have come out of my mouth at some point. Not any time lately. There's been no reason to talk about the Niners lately. But the 40 whiners blast. Are you kidding me? We're going to get to Adam here in a minute. We're going to talk some WWE. We are still talking Kings in between. Last night, here's some more from Coach Brown after the game.
At the end of the day, you shoot 22% from the 3. I thought we had wide open shots. We went away from the paint touches and spray in the fourth quarter. We got a little 2-point pull up happy in that fourth quarter. But I thought we had great shots before that. The guys were moving the basketball, and we didn't quite do that, especially down the stretch. But that's not where the game was lost. the game was lost. We let them get out in transition. They had 17 fast break points, and two things that we talked about. Well, three things we talked about against this team. We talked about protecting the paint. We talked about boxing out, and then we talked about getting back in transition. And they had 17 fast break points in the second half. But the tail of the tape, guys, is down the stretch. You know, our guys fought. They did a great job fighting, giving us a chance to win the game. But down the stretch, we had 3 missed box outs. 3. Like, that's like a small detail that you should embrace, especially at the end of the game, and try to do your job at the highest level. We had a missed box out on a free throw attempt. They missed a free throw. We missed the box out. They get the rebound, and they scored. But we gave up 3, and I think the 3 missed box outs down the stretch were maybe for 5 points. And then in transition, we have 3 guys back. 3 guys back, and this is with when it comes to winning time. And we allow Huff to get behind us for a dunk.
Kings got smoked in transition last night, 22-9. And Memphis is a team that wants to run. They play at a fast pace, and the Kings only got 9 fast break points. And so I guess the frustrating thing as a Kings fan, we're getting ready to talk to Adam here in a second and do our WWE segment as you're looking at the Western Conference playoff picture and play-in picture at the moment, is some of what you all are saying is absolutely true. It's the 3 ball. Grant said it last night. It's defending the 3. It is making the 3. That is the only way this team is going to be able to win, which means this is going to be a very up and down season if it stays on the same trend. Because the areas where the Kings want to focus and win the game, they did it last night with the exception of fast break points. Free throws were fine last night. 24 of 28, 85%. Points in the paint, 48-46, Sacramento. The Kings only had 13 turnovers. They turned over Memphis 22 times. They had 29 points off of those 22 turnovers. But it was the 3-pointers that didn't fall. And I agree with Coach Brown. They were a little too heavy-handed with the isolation there in the second half. So the Kings and the Spurs tonight, tipping off at 5 o'clock. We've got full coverage here on the channel for you. As always, hopefully you can join us for that. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing pregame, so stay tuned for that. If you see the show pop up, I will also tweet it out. But we will definitely be here at the halftime intermission with Jerry Reynolds because the game starts so early. It's a 5 o'clock game. We've talked a lot already. But the game, 5 p.m., San Antonio. Jerry will be here at the intermission with us. And then post game, Grant and I will bring you home. As of right now, I am hearing no Wembanyama tonight. They will be without him for the second night in a row. And Devin Vassell will not be playing as well. So there's no reason the Kings should not be able to pick this one up. As I said, the Kings on the second night of a back-to-back, that's when they play at the highest pace, usually on 0 days rest. So hopefully that stays true for them tonight in San Antonio, because you've got to get this one in San Antonio. They've already beat you twice this season. You have got to get it done if you're the Kings. And Keon Ellis, what do you guys think the issue is? Why is Keon Ellis not getting minutes? You know, Mike Brown usually, if he goes away from someone, he will usually come back to them. We saw that with Devin Carter all last year. So really for me, Mike Brown, now is the time. You need to go back to Keon Ellis tonight. Second night of a back-to-back. You got tired legs, probably. Well, maybe your starters are used to it. But you've got to get Keon into the mix tonight. All right. Let's talk a little bit of WWE. We have not talked WWE on this show for a couple of weeks. Survivor Series went down. I think we're going to go a little bit more nostalgic today with Adam. Maybe talk like best promos. We'll talk a little bit of the current stuff. And then whatever you guys want to talk about in terms of wrestling, we'll get to it. So,
with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life.
because Adam is joining us to talk WWE, our WWE correspondent. What's up, dude?
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
Brother. Just getting ready for that game tomorrow, baby. Big 12 championship.
Oh, that's why you're all sun deviled out, huh?
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
Oh, is it at Jerry's World?
It's at Jerry's World, baby. We're going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You think the man himself might be there?
Jerry?
Yeah, that would be awesome if Jerry was there. Nah. I've heard Jerry's got some great Christmas stories.
There's a pony in here somewhere, is the old adage, with the boy scooping up the manure on Christmas Day and whistling while he was doing it. Here comes Santa Claus. Well, that's us.
Here comes Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Hey, horse, you know, if the ducks and the ducks I don't, you know, what they're playing in the Big Ten. I'm not sure who they play in the Big Ten championship, but if ASU and Oregon win, they will face each other in the playoffs.
Yeah, that whole thing got shaken up with Alabama. I don't disagree with it, by the way. Miami got so lucky a couple times this season. They just didn't feel like a strong contender to me. But yeah, what's up, PK? Hope you're doing well. Tristan has a question before I ask Adam anything. How will WWE's move to Monday Night Raw to Netflix impact fans and the show's reach?
Well, I think now it you know, I'm not sure how it works in the UK or overseas or anything like that with Raw and when they air it and stuff, but you know, I think everyone should be able to watch it at the same time, which would be kind of cool, and it sort of becomes a maybe more global product in that sense. Impact fans, I don't know. I mean, I think all of us probably have Netflix, right? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have Netflix. So you got one or the other.
I think the biggest thing is, at least domestically, because, you know, Netflix has different divisions. Just because it's Netflix here in America doesn't mean it's not going to air on Sky Sports somewhere else.
Sure.
Will WWE go back to a little bit more? Because now you're not tied to the SEC. You can kind of do what you want on Netflix. You know, you don't have TV people breathing down your back like USA Network and executives. So do they go a little bit more bold? Is there a little bit more attitude to it? I don't know. What do you think, Adam?
I think they are going to get a little more bold. I think we've been seeing a little bit of that as of late since they've moved strictly to USA. So I think you're starting to see a little bit more of that. And like I've been saying, I'm cool if they go a little bit, a little more risque, but I don't want them to go like way over the top. I think it still needs to be somewhat, you know, teenager appropriate at the minimum.
Hey, Haunted Horse.
I will never believe you again.
Come on, dude. Netflix got too expensive for
I
your
will
household?
never believe you again.
Come on, man.
What's your big three of streaming services? What are your, or maybe your Mount Rushmore?
My Mount Rushmore of streaming services. Good question. The three that I'm on the most are YouTube, DirecTV, and Probably I don't know. I'm not on Netflix that much. I guess I don't have. It's really YouTube and DirecTV, and because
Yeah.
we stream DirecTV. So yeah, and then Peacock because of the pay-per-views. How
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, I like Peacock. Really love Hulu. That's my form of cable. We have the Hulu TV, so we get, all of our TV through that. Disney Plus, yes. They have some really great stuff. Plus, if you have kids, you kind of got to go there.
Yeah.
Paramount, it's all right.
Paramount's lame. You know why? Because they make you pay extra to get the Showtime part of it.
Yeah, well, we're a 90-day fiance household, and I
Oh,
think
gosh.
Paramount is under the umbrella of Discovery Plus and all that stuff. So maybe I could be totally off there.
Give me a hell yeah!
Wait a minute. You're a 90-day fiance household?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
have you watched all the seasons?
All of them.
Dude,
Like
how
every iteration of the show before the 90 days, happily ever after, 90 day the other way, all of the spin-offs and all that stuff. My wife and I, that's our thing. It's always been our thing since we've been together.
Okay, so I've watched like a season here and there. The Paula chick from Brazil.
Yeah. Oh, and her husband is out there.
The Oklahoma State fan, right?
Yeah.
He's a big
Yeah.
Oklahoma State guy.
Yeah.
Mike Gundy guy.
Paul.
Yeah.
I got something I could joke about, but maybe it's not that funny.
Yeah, it's a weird show in this sense.
It's so bizarre.
So some of these couples, like every time, and I watched like half of a season with the guy that's always wearing that damn fedora, right?
Oh yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
Mhm.
It's so random how they get matched
Gino.
up. I just don't understand. Like the women aren't there for the men, or vice versa.
I mean, a lot of them meet through these sort of like paid dating sites.
Exactly.
And there's like one dude that was dating this girl, and he would have to pay to message her every single time or something.
Haunted Horse had a lot
I
of
know.
experience with 90-day fiance marriages.
Haunted Horse
Yes.
is catching strays out here.
I mean, Haunted Horse, just out of curiosity, which one of those 90-day marriages did this come from?
Haunted 00 Horse. Jim, I also fathered an illegitimate child.
Was that in or out of a 90-day marriage, my friend? All right, let's talk some wrestling really quick. I want to talk some.
Sorry, Horse mentioned the famous sperm donor in the reality star. There was a guy that his hobby was traveling around the world in donating to different banks.
Hello, we're on the air here.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the air here.
Hello, we're on the air here.
Different
saying,
show. Different show.
You should check it out. It's on Discovery Plus. I think Paramount carries it as well. So
go check out Haunted Horse's show. You could learn more about that.
We'll see at the water hole.
No, like I saw a documentary on these guys that will basically pay these agencies to go on these dating tours.
Oh yeah.
Of like Russia and all these different countries, and there's these mixers that are set up for them to go hopefully meet and find their wife there. And if they don't find one, they go to the next city and the next mixer and the next city and the next mixer. So basically what you're telling me is it's like that system that feeds into this show.
Yeah, in a roundabout way for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Not always the case, but a lot of them will meet online through random DMs or stuff.
Okay. All right. Okay. Back to WWE.
All right.
Dude, okay. I asked you, so Adam and I, we talk all the time. We're always texting and we're friends off the show. I texted him on Monday and I'm like, genius. And I only put one word because I don't want to spoil anything for
Yeah.
him, and he doesn't want to spoil anything for me. We're always cognizant of that. But I assume you've watched Monday Night Raw now.
Yes, sir.
I had texted Adam like a week before. Where the hell is this New Day stuff going? Like, they've ruined this angle. And Adam, this Monday, they knocked it out of the effing park.
Yeah, they crushed it, and holy cow, you felt so bad for Big E. Why'd they have to do him like that? I think all of us were totally waiting for that, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston split, and then they swerved us and turned on Big E. I'm surprised they didn't start swinging, but yeah, man, that was brutal. Like that felt harsh.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It looks like it'll get to a WrestleMania thing. I'm sure Big E's probably already cleared. The crowd doesn't know that, and somehow probably Woods and Kofi will turn on each other at some point. It becomes a triple threat, and that's how the New Day blows up. They did a
Hey,
great
that's a great call out. Yeah, I didn't really think about the triple threat match. More than anything, I just thought that this is a new way. It's a new way to sort of reinvent the New Day because, let's be honest, the last few years they've been kind of stale. They don't get a pop. They've been around forever, and they kind of, I think someone put it, they gave them a new, fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. So
Yeah,
okay.
they killed it.
So here's what I want to do with you and the crowd or the chat. Get involved in this. If you want to call, you can put your opinion into. I want to do a Mount Rushmore of promos all time in wrestling.
Okay.
The best promos ever. Where do we start? What comes to mind for you when you think of the best promos ever?
Austin 316. And I know it wasn't like a promo, but
It was.
Yeah, right. Like, he goes up to the King of the Ring chair after the match and just starts unloading on Jake the Snake. And that's how things are born. So that's got to be in there for me. I loved the DX when they came out as the Nation.
Okay.
The Owen Hart character. I'm not a nugget. That was a good one for me. Let's see. I don't know. Steiner math. I love Chris Jericho, so probably something from Jericho. You can't deny Ric Flair.
This one's pretty strong.
With a tear in my eye. This is the greatest moment in my life.
Did you see this? So somehow once in a while I'll get stuck like on the X hole, or I'll get into an X hole, right? Where you watch somebody's video,
yeah,
and you start doing something, and then another video comes up. Well, I got there, and it was like the third or fourth video, and it's some girl, and she's like, "My boyfriend said that guy's name's Ric Flair that's sitting at the bar, and I should go ask him for a picture." And next thing you know, it cuts to her going up to him. "Excuse me, I heard you're famous. Can I have a picture with you?" And he's like, "No." It was actually Ric Flair.
Yeah, Rick's a little party boy.
But yeah. So okay, where does the pipe bomb rate with CM Punk? Do you think that I don't disagree with you? I think Austin 316 is on. I think we can put that on the Mount Rushmore. I'm there.
I think the pipe bomb thing was before my time. So, there's that weird gap from.
Oh, that's right. So CM Punk basically he went kind of kayfabe. Well, he went real. He basically like started calling out Vince and everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you a part of wrestling when Triple H and Sean came out. It was a DX promo, and they came out as Vince and Shane.
Oh gosh, you're racking my memory. I don't necessarily remember it, but another great DX moment was when they invaded WCW in the tank.
That was a good one. That was
Or the
definitely
little
a good
Jeep.
one. That was a good one. So the Rock and Coachman, that one was hilarious. You remember the Rock and Coachman?
The Coachman's not drawing anything for me. That gets into the dark times.
So
anywhere from probably about 2002 to 2020-ish.
Fair enough. All
Yeah,
right.
so there's about 20 years there where I was not tuning in.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough then.
I apologize.
So that's all right. That's all right. So we've got a long time before the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, we got Saturday night main event, which actually I heard Jesse Ventura is going to be announcing that. He'll probably be a color guy on the side.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. Have the body back in. The body.
Jesse the body.
That dude's nuts.
I guess I'm gonna leave it to you. What are you thinking? Like, what are you looking for now as we run up to Royal Rumble and Saturday night's main event? And I guess basically we're already back at WrestleMania season almost.
We pretty much are. Well, kind of going off of, I want to say a couple of things about Survivor Series. I thought Jimmy Uso had his breakout party that night, and I thought he put on a hell of a show. And he gets to the top of the cage, and I looked at my wife and I was like, he has to jump. I'm like, this is the moment where Jimmy Uso's got to jump, and he's got to be a standout. Jesus, sorry, my dog is
You're good.
barking like nuts. Sorry, but Jimmy Uso sort of had his breakout party at Survivor Series, for me at least, in a solo sense, no pun intended. Like I've been saying, you view these OG bloodline guys like they all individually have their own. I think they can stand on their own merit, and maybe that wasn't always true for Jimmy, but I think that was a big step towards that. Bronson Reed, the dude broke both of his ankles that night. So it looks like
he legit broke his ankles.
Yeah. So I think the rumor is that that's why they rushed Drew back on Monday night, because after Survivor Series, I kept thinking to myself, okay, well, don't lose sight of the fact that Drew McIntyre still hates Punk. I don't think he likes Seth Rollins very much, but they both probably hate CM Punk more than they hate each other, and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. And here we go. Here comes our boy Drew McIntyre coming out on Monday night.
Damn, I didn't know he legit broke his ankles.
Yeah, which is a bummer, man, because I think he's been so hot lately. So wishing that dude a speedy recovery, because he's getting a real big push there. And I loved what he brought to the new Bloodline, and I thought he just really fit in well there and fit the aesthetic of the new Bloodline. So that's sort of a bummer.
All right, so I don't know if you have heard this, and I'm probably gonna walk the line here. I hope this does not get this show taken down. So Napes, I apologize in advance. But this was an all-timer, and it has to do with the Kings. I know this is gonna pop the chat if people are still watching on X. Here we go.
Live in Sacramento.
I already know it.
You know it?
Yeah. Oh my God. And that was at like the height of our optimism as King fans. You wanted to.
It was right at 2. Here we go.
I'll be sure to come back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May.
That was brutal.
Yeah, I think that was what 2000, 2001.
Yeah, it was right around then. So,
Yeah.
all right,
So
you
we
have
hadn't
homework.
even. What?
Go ahead.
I've got homework.
You have homework.
I've got about 20 years of homework, and I've tried to like go back and look at some of the stuff, but there's so much in those probably 20 years I was missing that I don't even know where to begin sometimes.
Okay, so your homework is go to YouTube, okay? And you're going to search The Rock makes fun of the coach. The Rock makes fun of the coach.
Okay.
Okay? The promo is going to sound a little something like this.
After trying great tasting mini.
Not like that. That's an ad. But you're going to search that. The Rock makes fun of the coach. It's one of the funnier improv promos ever done by The Rock. And Jonathan Coachman, he's been back and forth between WWE. Here we go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, it's no problem. You got to thank The Rock. I mean, you're always professional. You're always prepared, with the exception of that one time you spent the night with the cows. Other than that, you're a stand-up guy. So now.
And it goes from there. So go check it out. It's really funny.
Man, The Rock, the one thing about him, man, like he always hit the mark no matter what.
Haunted Horse wants you to pick matches versus Liam.
Hey,
I guess.
I'm down. Bring him out
Maybe
right now.
We'll think about it. No, he's not coming on camera. He's too young.
I know. I'm playing.
Yeah. But he does like to come mess with my setup. He likes
Yeah.
to sit here and play daddy anytime he gets a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good promo. Not gonna lie. The Iron Sheik, those were pretty intense. Did you ever hear? I think it was The Rock, and I'll get you out on this. Was it Rock or Hogan? Somebody was telling a story. No, it was Undertaker. Undertaker was telling a story about how he shared a hotel room one time with the Iron Sheik, and it was freaking like 20 degrees outside. In the middle of the night, this guy was going back and forth between the hotel room and the balcony and like doing push-ups and working out and like doing all this weird stuff. Go find the story. It's really funny. But Iron Sheik, he was a different cat for sure. So, all right, dude, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at The Casual Guy Cast on YouTube and Twitch. You can find me at Casual Guy Cast on X. I did end up throwing out an episode last week, sort of my Survivor Series predictions. I haven't gotten another episode out since then, but you know, you can always find me here Fridays, somewhere between 2 and 3 p.m. typically on the King's Court. Gosh dang.
Oops. Sorry, we lost Adam.
No, you're good. The Kings, I'm struggling with these guys this year.
Well, is there anything you want to get off your chest about these guys?
They're not having
You're
fun.
here.
Okay. Look, I get it that we're not winning, but we're also not like no one's, you know, Fox is carrying this team. You guys were talking about trading and stuff like that. And, you know, I think I stand with you on as much as I'd hate to see him go. I think he's the only piece that we can move that we're going to get some equal value for. I don't necessarily think we want picks. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this team. It's tough to watch, and I don't know. It bums me out because we had a great season 2 seasons ago, you know, and we just seem to keep digressing every season after that, and that's the thing that I'm struggling with. And you know, when is it our turn, man? When is it our turn? Denver won a championship.
Isn't that kind of the question, though? I mean, this felt like the build for this team after that playoff year. And I guess, like, we kind of need to sit back and, like, really re-examine. That year might have been the outlier.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of injuries on other teams that season, too. So maybe we... And that season too, we had a lot of close games. Some that didn't go in our favor, but a lot that did go in our favor that were last second shots that we made to win the match. I'm talking wrestling now. To win the game. And yeah, I know we don't trade Fox without getting picks, but then you've got a 28-year-old Sabonis, so you got a couple of years there in his prime with him. We don't have a prime DeMar. I love Malik. I would hope he stays. I think he could run the point too, like you guys were talking about yesterday. He is sort of the point guard. I just, when I look at a point guard, I want a facilitator of the offense. And as great as Fox is, he's not that probably. I'm more of like an old school traditional point guard guy. So and I just think like if we're gonna get anything out of this team, like he's the one piece we could move that unfortunately would bring us something in return. I don't know that we get the same return on Sabonis. As
I
great
don't
as
think
he is.
you won't have takers on
No.
Sabonis.
I think,
Nobody, if the new CBA wasn't in effect, maybe it's a different story. If we're still in the era of super teams where you could pick up guys like Sabonis, what you would probably see is somebody much like Drew Holiday got released from Portland. They would probably buy Sabonis out. I mean, it's too much money. You
Yeah.
just can't do it. Sabonis is, if you're going to build around him, it was never the plan was to build around Sabonis. It was to build around Fox. If you're going to build around Sabonis, he's kind of like a Luka in that sense. He's kind of like a Russell Wilson in football. He's a different type of player at his position, and you've got to put certain pieces around him that fit him perfectly, like a jigsaw puzzle. And there's just not a team that's going to do that.
Well,
That's way too much money.
And I don't think that our center should be the one who has the most assists on the team typically. It the offense does sort of run through him. I think less so maybe this year. Maybe it's a little more Fox and just let him go. But how do you build around Fox?
I think you've tried everything. And I'm not saying trading Fox is the answer, but I guess the question I posed to Sacramento is what else can you possibly try to get over the hump with Fox?
Yeah, unless I just think that power forward, that 3 position has been really not, I don't want to say weak for us, but like we don't have that like, I don't want to say Chris Webber type, but we got to have someone more physical up front. And I'm not saying that Demonis isn't physical. He is. The dude gets his face smashed in every single game with 0 calls. But we just need like a banger, man. We need like that old school. Like I'm a huge Steven Adams guy. I love that dude, and I love like the toughness that he brings. We don't have the toughness, I don't think. In like Ant said the other day, we're soft. Not
Yep.
I just it's tough to watch. We're not physical. We're not big. We're not tough. And teams that are can exploit that. And we don't distribute the ball. We do not like move the ball around. It's just like they try to find the matchups that they want with, switching up and then once they get that, it's like take the shot.
Well, I feel like that's changed in the last 3 games. That has been different for this team because they've changed the offense. It's not as much. And the people on the telecast, like Mark Jones, the last couple games that keep saying DHO, they haven't been DHOs. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah.
They have been pick and rolls. Those were not DHOs. The Kings are running pick and rolls. They're doing more down screens, pin downs. They're coming off of them. They're getting Fox in motion without the ball, and everything is cutting towards the hoop. Watch tonight in San Antonio when they come off. You will have guys curling around the screens at the elbow towards the middle of the paint, both DeRozan and Fox. That's not a DHO because somebody's coming around the guy with the ball.
Yeah.
Sabonis is in no position to dribble, shoot, or pass when that guy is coming around. So I think there's a positive there, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they've got to get figured out. Dude, appreciate you, Adam.
Thanks,
Be
bro.
well, dude. Talk to you soon.
Fork up.
Uh-oh. Forks up. You want to go back to it? Go ahead. Get it
Forks
in.
up, baby. Let's go tomorrow.
There you go. Dude, Adam, really quick.
Yeah.
You guys will get smashed in the college football playoff.
Why?
You know?
We have Cam Scattaboo. Come on, he's a Sacramento guy. You should be rooting for the Sun Devils.
Aren't they in the Big 12?
Yeah, we are now.
Yeah, you guys are going to get crushed. That conference is awful.
Come on, dude.
I'm sorry, brother.
You're going to get run from your own show with that take, dude.
I'm just saying. I don't know, man. All right,
Hey,
I love you.
You know
bro.
what?
Be well.
They
Okay.
were projected to be last in the Big 12, and they are number 1. So give them some credit.
I'll give them some credit.
They got some heart, and they're playing really well right now, and it's fun to watch. So, and ASU football has sucked always, no matter what.
It hasn't always sucked. When I was at SDSU, you guys had Suggs.
Yeah,
You guys came to San Diego to play us, and you guys were really good back then.
T Sizzle was cool, but we've never been number 1 in the conference or.
Yeah, Daniels for a year or two.
Yeah, and then he bounced.
Yeah,
it would have been nice to keep him, but yeah, we're living in the now, dude.
Good. Well, go get it. Good
Let's
luck.
go
Have
get
fun
'em.
tomorrow. Travel
Later,
safe.
Cyclones.
Adam giving us some confidence for his Cyclones. We're talking Kings. We're talking Spurs. Kings Court with you. We're running a little bit long because this is going to kind of be the end of the Kings Court. We'll do a little bit of pregame right now, and then we'll send you out early for the Kings and the Spurs coming up here in just over an hour from San Antonio. I think, Jeff, and I left your comment up because you bring up an interesting point. Now, we're talking a lot of big picture stuff right now. We're not saying that the Kings are trading Fox. We're talking about what's next if this continues with this team. I am very, very encouraged by the things that I have seen offensively from this team since Malik Monk entered the starting lineup. I'm discouraged by the problems that continue with guarding the three-point line and shooting the three ball. That does not seem like it's going to change consistently anytime soon. Hopefully it does. It's Keegan Murray. Can he start hitting a three? Can you get Domas some more looks from beyond the arc? But let's talk hypotheticals here, and this is why I left your comment up. A Fox trade is a full restart. I don't agree with that. I actually don't agree with that. Because if you trade Fox, and I'm not advocating for trading Fox, I'm just laying it out there. Let's say you get rid of Fox, Lyles, and who would be another player? Maybe Keon. Keon would be desirable for somebody. That leaves you with Malik Monk as your starting point guard. You have no idea who's coming in off of the trade for Fox. We still have Devin Carter, who we've yet to see play. You still have DeMar DeRozan. You still have Keegan Murray, who's young. It's not a full restart. Now, it's a full restart if in exchange for Fox, it's a slew of picks. If you're not getting any immediate players or impactful players back, now we're having a different conversation. But as I look at the roster right now, you still have Domas, DeMar, Malik and Keegan as your core. And who knows how Devin Carter plays into that. So I don't think it is. What would be really interesting, and I don't want to see it for this team's sake because I want them to hopefully turn this thing around. But if De'Aaron Fox were to miss any time and you had a healthy Malik Monk, what would this team look like? What would this team look like? You get more pick and roll. You're getting more of that right now with Sabonis and Monk and with the starting offense. I mean, hell, again, I want to remind you, they started last night. They scored on 8 of their first 10 possessions. The Kings did more good things last night than they did wrong. And that's what's so frustrating about this. Before we brought Adam on, I laid it out for you. They won the points in the paint. They turned Memphis over 22 times. They got killed in the break. Their transition defense was awful. They shot free throws perfectly fine. They got to the line 28 times. It was the three-pointer. It wasn't last night. It wasn't as much about guarding the three. They held Memphis to 34.2%, which is below. It's about 4 to 5% percentage points lower than what the Kings allow per game this season. So they held them below their season standard, and attempts were about right there. 38 attempts for Memphis. So the Kings lost last night, and we can point to the transition. That's a fair point. But the reason the Kings lost was 8 for 35 from behind the three-point line. 22.9%. But back to my point, I don't think you're in full rebuild without Fox. You're not. You're not. I mean, yeah, you lose some explosion. You lose some toughness. You lose the leader of this team. But you're not in a rebuild as the roster sits now. You still have a pretty damn good core in Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, and Keegan Murray, and DeMar DeRozan. That's just me off the top of my head. And again, not advocating for trading De'Aaron Fox. I'm a big Fox. The way Fox has played since his 60-point game, since the text messages with Luke Laux, since the film session with Luke has been incredible. And if he keeps that up, he's going to continue playing at a high rate. But his three-point attempts need to be in line with his assist numbers. It's the Fox formula. It's how this team wins. And then obviously you've got to make your threes. Looking at his threes last night, 0 of 7 from beyond the arc. Didn't have a big issue with the shots that he took, but 0 of 7 from beyond the arc. Bigger issue. Keegan Murray, 1 for 7. Kevin Huerter, 0 of 6. 1 of 13 between both of them. And here's the other thing. That's just your core. What about the things you get to bolster your bench possibly as part of a Fox trade? So, what team in the NBA needs Fox right now? I don't know that there's a team that needs him. I mean, yeah, there's a handful of teams that need a player like Fox, but there's certainly a decent group of teams that could really use De'Aaron Fox. Think about, let's go down the Western Conference. Let's put this up really quick. We'll look at the West really quick with this question up. Just the West alone. What team could possibly use a De'Aaron Fox? Oklahoma City, no. Houston, Yes. Dallas, no. Memphis, no. Here's the interesting one. Golden State. Yes. Fox and Curry backcourt. Sign me up if I'm Golden State. The Clippers. No. But Harden, he's not their long-term answer. So maybe the Clippers. Phoenix? No. Denver? No. The Lakers? Absolutely. Minnesota? Debatable. San Antonio? Probably not. Portland? No. They're in a full rebuild. So that's the West. What about the East? Utah I left out. No. What about the East? Cleveland? No. Boston? No. Orlando? Yes. The Knicks? No. The Bucks? Yes. Atlanta? If they wanted to mix things up. Miami? Yes. Chicago? Borderline. Brooklyn? Yes. Indiana? No. Detroit? Yes. Toronto? Probably not. Charlotte? Yes. Philly? Yes. Wizards? Yes. You think the Spurs? Yes. I was debating on that. Probably. Because they've got Castle starting. I can't believe we're talking about this. I mean, I suppose we could entertain this discussion. Well, look, I said we're just going, we're kind of on the rabbit hole because the question was asked. So that's why I went down the NBA. The question was asked. I still think, again, I'm not in the boat that's saying blow it up. I'm not in the boat that's saying trade Fox. I think the Kings can turn this thing around. I truly believe that. Grant doesn't agree with me there. I think the Kings can turn this around. It is a little bit of a scary conversation, but here's the thing, PK. This is going to be the conversation if this team loses to the Spurs. This is going to be the conversation if the Kings absolutely blow this homestand. Because you're going to be too far out of contention. You've got San Antonio tonight. You've got Utah on Sunday. Then you're at New Orleans. You're home against Denver. You're home against the Lakers. Home against the Lakers. Then you're home against Indy. Home against Detroit. And then you're at the Lakers. Then you close out the year 2024 at home on the 30th against the Mavericks. So if you come through this stretch at less than 500, this is going to be the conversation. And it's not just going to be Fox. It's going to be other players too, because guess what you're bumping up against? The trade deadline. Because look, the Kings have to. The most important thing besides winning this season for the Kings and making the playoffs, the second most important thing that this team could be doing is having a beat on where Fox is at. Y'all, he's got the rest of this season and next season left on his deal. That's it. You cannot do what you did with Malik Monk and let him hit free agency for nothing. So for all intents and purposes, if you want to be real about it, because this is how it usually works, De'Aaron Fox is not walking into next season with only that year left on his deal. And if he is, that's probably because all indications are he's not returning to Sacramento if he hits free agency. The year before the contract is up, that summer, that is usually when that extension gets done. So we have from December 16th to the end of this season to figure out. The Kings have until then and now to figure out where Fox is at. And also, it's a two-way street where the Kings are at with Fox. Regardless of whether the Kings lose this year and have a bad season or they have a great season and they make the playoffs, that's a decision that needs to be made this summer. Or else, Haunted Horse is right. You're going to run into a situation like that. If you let Fox walk for free, that is now a full rebuild. So, look, that's why I'm saying this conversation, it's closer to us than further away. So, again, I'm not in the camp. Trade Fox. Let's get him out of here. But get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because when you look at the Kings' assets, he is the most tradable when it comes to return and value to other teams in the NBA. So, not a fun conversation, but that's why I'm here. We've got to have it. Keegan Murray ain't going to turn your season around if you trade him. In fact, I think it probably makes your season worse depending on what you get back for Keegan Murray because he's so important defensively. So it's a very interesting conversation. Want to bring all of you. Patrick, what's up, dude? Pat, it's scary how bad we look. Taco Star Trade Fox, PK, you cannot play like this in the West, Ryan. It won't work. What do you mean, PK? How can they not play? Are you talking about not making three-pointers? As long as Ryan looks good, then the Kings are good. What? Fox gets in everyone's way. Let him get in everyone's way on some other team. See, Ed, I don't think he gets in everybody's way. I think Fox is central to what this team does. Fox is the fastest player with a basketball in the NBA, and it's been that way for many years. So if you feel like people are getting in his way here, that's a system issue. And look, there's reports out there. There were GMs thinking that DeMar was not going to work here. I'm not one of those people. I think DeMar does work here, can work here, but coach needs to do more. Coach Brown needs to do more. You can't just put the ball in the hands of your players and say, let it fly offensively. You can't do it. This team is not anywhere near what the team was in 22-23 when they made the playoffs. And they were a let it fly team. They weren't. They're not. Same formula does not work. Coach Brown last night.
I'm concentrating on the guys that I have. That question is for.
We got that one already. Coach Brown last night.
Or was it adjustments?
No, it was no adjustments. We kept telling our guys, when you touch the paint against any good team, and Memphis is a good defensive team, they're going to go like this. They want you to shoot that pull-up shot. You should be touching the paint against those guys to see if you can get to the rim because they screw up and get fouled, or to kick it. And the last 5 minutes, we had so many open guys, and we shot a contested 2 that, again, you have mistakes like that offensively. You have mistakes like that defensively. You don't box out, especially when it comes to winning time. And I don't care who's in front of you. It's going to be hard to win. And I'm not taking anything away from Memphis because their effort level was just at the right level it was supposed to be, especially missing their superstar. But
It's the same story every single night. Coach Brown again.
Our ability to concentrate during that time on the small details of what was successful getting us there, it just went out the window when it came to moving the ball the way we did, boxing out, and then trying to get back in transition without giving up uncontested dunks when you already got 2 or 3 guys back.
Says that Wemby is out. I actually got a text message when Adam was on saying that he was going to try to warm up. Because I did hear from some of my sources that he would be out tonight. I heard that before this show started. And so I put that out there. We will see. It's very doubtful that he's playing. If that came out officially, Juan, let me know where you heard that from. The Kings are getting this win. It's an away game. Yeah, right, Peter? Donald, IKR. What's IKR mean? Wemby gone means nothing for a team like the Kings. It just makes it harder to win tonight. In some ways, I'm not going to lie to you, it does make it a little bit harder for the Kings to win tonight. You know why? The Spurs can play at a higher pace without Wemby. They can. And it gives other guys opportunities. Now, Vassell out. So, yeah, hasn't moved. So I bet Wemby is out. Yeah. So I heard as of 2 o'clock from my source, or before 2 o'clock, I think it was about 1:30 that Wemby was going to be out tonight. So, yeah, the line has not moved as of now. So, look, the Spurs played last night without Wemby. Here's what they did. And the guy that you've got to worry about, it sounds hilarious, but it's Chris Paul. Chris Paul is a Kings killer. He did it last game, except he did it different. He did it with a 3-pointer at a big time, but he usually has big games when it comes to assists against the Kings. The Spurs put up 124 points last night without Wemby. You got 16 from Sohan. You got 12 and 12 from Paul and Castle. You got 28. This guy gave the Kings fits last game, Keldon Johnson. Remember, he gave the Kings some big problems. The free throws, that's what it was. The Kings put the Spurs into the penalty within 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. The Spurs shot 10 free throws by the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter. They had 10 total free throws before the start of the fourth quarter. So Keldon Johnson had a big game last night, 28 points. Vassell poured in 17. He is not playing tonight because he is still coming off of rest management. So yes, you do got to worry about Johnson, a little bit of a higher pace. Also HB, watch out for HB tonight. Still though, the encouraging thing for me is the Kings play at a higher pace with no rest. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but that is what the stats in the analytics say. The Kings average 90-plus shots with no rest or no days rest. So we'll see how that works out tonight. We are at a point where we are worried about the Spurs. I want to cry. Well, PK, to be fair, let's be fair about it. Same thing was last year. We were at the same point last year. It was the teams that were undermanned. It was the teams that had a handful of wins on the season that would come into the Golden One Center and beat the Kings. Same teams. So timely 3-pointers from CP3. You know, he walks up and pulls threes. Yeah, and Coach Brown put that on Foxy in the post game. He said they were not supposed to be switching. Let's look at the Spurs really quick, and then we'll get out of here, give you a little break before the game starts. Here's what the Spurs do for the season. That is the West. Here is the Spurs for you. That's what they do for the season. Not particularly great at one thing. By the way, they gave up 139 last night, 139 to the Bulls. You look at the team statistics last night. Here's going to be your alarm bells. The Spurs last night without Wemby shot 39 3-pointers. 39 threes last night. Or excuse me. Looking at the wrong stat. The Spurs without Wemby shot 39 free throws last night. 39. They were 28 to 39. But here's where the alarms are going to go off tonight. Last night, the Spurs only shot 28 threes. 28 threes against the Bulls. And they only made 8 of 28 for 28.6%. This number tonight will probably be at least between 35 and 40. Can the Kings keep them to a similar percentage? And here's the bigger question. We already talked about the way this team helps. Can the Kings defend tonight without needing to help the person on the ball? If you have to help the person on the ball tonight, that's going to trigger the open threes for this Spurs team. Here's what the Spurs do for the season. Again, no Devin Vassell and no Wemby, as far as I have been told. I did get a text message saying Wemby was going to try to warm up. Take it for what it is worth. We will see. And like I said, whoever put it that Wemby is officially out, let me know who reported that. I heard he was out as of about 1:30 today. So, Donald, getting some love for this comment. If you're a professional player, being tired should be no excuse. I do believe attrition is a factor somewhat. Absolutely. What about frustration? Frustration can also be a massive factor as well. Forget who said it today. Somebody said the Kings just don't look like they're having fun. I think it was Adam. Sometimes they look like they're having fun, and other times it's frustration across the board. From coach down, players down. But I am optimistic for tonight for the simple reason that I like what this team has been doing offensively. Their sets have changed. They're playing more pick and roll rather than DHO. They got great shots at the start of last game. And then in the second half, I'll go back for those that are just joining us. Look at the drastic difference between the shot charts last night. This was your first half shot chart. The Kings started off the game with 8 buckets in 10 possessions. 8 buckets in 10 possessions. Here was your second half shot chart. The third quarter is when the wheels came off for the Kings. 32.1% from the field in the third quarter. 7.7% from beyond the arc. They shot 13 threes in the third quarter for 7.7%. Remember, the Kings at halftime had been shooting the ball from beyond the arc pretty good, 35.3%. And then you go to 7.7%. Then how about the free throws in the third quarter? 62.5%. They've got to put it together for 4 quarters. And Mike Brown's got to break these things up. If you weren't with us at the beginning of the broadcast, during that same stretch where the Kings were struggling offensively, they got stops. There were 6 possessions where the Kings Out of 6 possessions, they turned over Memphis 5 times in those 6 possessions. Yet the Kings, during that stretch, only scored 3 points. Coach Brown's got to break that up. You got to call a timeout. You got to get this team on track. In fact, I would venture to say you got to micromanage a little bit more. Look at all those bricks from beyond the arc. Exactly right. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Now, I excuse the deep one because that was a grenade. The shot clock was running out. But you got to do better. And again, look at the first half shot chart. Look at everything inside the paint. Look at the mid-range. That's what you want to see. So can the Kings put it together tonight against the Spurs? We'll see. They've lost twice to them already this season. Look, we're going to be here for it regardless of what happens. So make sure you come back and join us. Would love to have you here. Jerry Reynolds be with us at the intermission. We'll be talking the first 24 minutes of this one. And after the game, Grant and I wrap it up for you. Post game, we'll be taking your calls and hopefully talking about a Kings victory. After tonight, they head back home to Utah or against Utah and then back out on the road. Remember, these 2 games were because the Kings did not make the NBA Cup Finals or the tournament, the second round of it, whatever you want to call it. Stupid idea by Adam Silver. They now have New Orleans in New Orleans and then home against Denver. Those were the 2 games that were the fill-ins during the NBA Cup. So there you go. We'll be breaking it down for you tonight. Hopefully you can join us. We have covered a lot of ground today. But just, this team, again, I tell you, they played better quarters. If you look at the last 3 games since Malik Monk has started, I think overall the quarters have been on the good side. You've had more good quarters than bad quarters. It's just the bad comes, and it comes in bunches to where it can just fold your tent and end your chances at a victory. So we're back tonight. Hope you guys have a great one. Thank you guys for being here. Gals, guys, everybody. Appreciate it. My thanks to Haunted Horse and my son Liam for his picks. Thanks to Adam. Thanks to all of our callers, commenters, texters. We are back at halftime with you right here on If You Don't Like That. If you haven't already, do me a favor. Make sure you are subscribed. It would mean the world to me if you give us a thumbs up, a like. It really helps our algorithm. A retweet, would really appreciate that. And then also, don't forget about us here on the King's Court. Make sure you are subscribed to the audio channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Not only does the audio from these shows go up, but you get exclusive audio over there on days where we do not have King's Courts, and then morning shoot-arounds as well. After I talk to my sources, after I digest the game, rewatch it, listen to what the coaches had to say. So make sure you're subscribed there, but definitely make sure you're subscribed here as well to If You Don't Like That. We will see you at the halftime. Jerry Reynolds joining us at the intermission. Kings Spurs tonight here in just over 30 minutes from San Antonio. Looking like no Wemby, no Devin Vassell. Can the Kings get it done on the second night of a back-to-back? We will see. Go Kings! Light the damn beam. Stay the hell away from Levine. We are out till Monday. Grant, Jerry, and myself, though, back right here at halftime.